So, Yusuf, I mean, Trump's not even in office and already making some pretty strong international waves. But that is a serious allegation being made by Washington.
Well, I am a little concerned, honestly, if the federal bureaucracy, whether it's in the Pentagon or any other agency, is already having discussions about how to countermand the commander-in-chief.
Discussions at the Pentagon. I don't know at what level this is. It just seems like it's informal discussions. I guess it's understandable they would have those discussions. It also... Scott, is it?
Look, I don't like this because what's Donald Trump supposed to think? You know, he's sitting down there, he's the president-elect, and now he's got to read in the newspaper tonight that the unelected bureaucracy of the federal government is having meetings at some level about how to thwart or countermand the commander-in-chief. I don't care if it's at the Pentagon or at the HUD or Ag Department. It doesn't matter. The unelected bureaucracy of this government answers to the civilian and duly elected leadership that we just did. And what if you were in his shoes and you just won the popular vote with a clear mandate and now you got to read that these unelected bureaucrats are plotting against you? What would you think? If they have problems, let me finish. If they have problems, they should not have meetings that then leak to the press. If they have ideas or things, they should call the president's office and say, hey, we'd like to have some discussions for planning purposes. But secret meetings that leak? Terrible way to get off to a start with the new administration.
Well, I agree that that's maybe not the best way to do it. However, Trump has set them up to be in this situation where they think that he's coming after them.
Iran has denied claims that it was behind an alleged plot to assassinate President-elect Donald Trump. That comes after the U.S. Justice Department charged an Iranian national in connection with the plan. But Tehran says the accusations are baseless.
خیلی کشتن اینا که هدف ما نبود. ما انشالله بتونیم ترامپ رو بکشیم، پومپئو رو، همین مکنزی و این فرماندهان نظامی که این دستور.
I mean, let's remember how this works. He got elected president. He's the commander-in-chief. He gives the orders. They follow them. And so I don't like the idea, candidly, Wolf, of non-elected government people at any level having meetings with each other about how to thwart the duly elected president of the United States. So I'm really hoping that when Donald Trump names his nominee for the Pentagon, and then they take office and you have your National Security Council in place, that we have a much better working relationship between the White House and the Pentagon than what I'm reading tonight, which is one part of the federal government already having some kinds of meetings about what it would look like to thwart the president. That's not a good way to start.
But let me follow up, Scott. Let me follow up with you because Trump, as president, will be the commander-in-chief. But what these Pentagon officials are considering right now and discussing among themselves, what if he gives the Pentagon, the U.S. military, illegal orders to do certain things? What do they do then?
My advice to them would be, instead of talking to each other, talk to the president and talk to his senior staff. Because look what's happened. They're having these meetings. Now it's out in the open. I mean, what is Donald Trump supposed to think now? You've already got the government, the bureaucracy, plotting against you or thinking the worst of you. So to me, the best thing that could happen here is for them to talk to each other, meaning the Pentagon people and the president and his team. That's what really ought to happen. So I hope these secret meetings that now somehow find their way into the press, that really needs to stop. And we need more communication between the incoming government and the people who are already in the building.
We have some breaking news this hour. The Justice Department has just unsealed criminal charges in a thwarted Iranian plot to kill President-elect Donald Trump.
The spokesperson Esmail Baghai categorically dismissed allegations that Iran was involved in attempts to assassinate former and current U.S. officials and described the claims as completely baseless and rejected. He emphasized that repeating such claims at this juncture is a malicious conspiracy orchestrated by Zionist and anti-Iranian circles, aimed at further complicating the issues between the U.S. and Iran.
Yeah, you have your crime has been posting images of women who want to take off their head covering and have freedom, of women who have been killed by the regime, other people who've been killed by the regime, to make sure that the rest of the world knows about it.
We have known there has been a steady threat stream toward the life of President-elect Donald Trump originating in Iran. This is one more example. According to the Justice Department, specifically the Southern District of New York, they're looking for a 51-year-old who they believe resides in Iran. His name is Farhad Shakiri. And according to the Justice Department, he was working with the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps on a plot to kill Then former President Trump, now President-elect Trump, just a few months ago said, quote, it would cost a huge amount of money. That's what he allegedly told the folks back in Iran. Now, separately, he is also accused of employing multiple associates in New York City to surveil and murder an unnamed U.S. citizen that opposed the Iranian regime in New York. Now, Kayleigh, this all stems from former President Trump's directive to kill General Qasem Soleimani back in January of 2020. Since then, national security officials have told Fox News the threat stream toward President-elect Trump's life has really increased. This is one more example.
We learned two things about Kamala this election. She's good at raising money and she's good at blowing it. But money can't buy you elections, especially when you spend it like she did. She raked in more than $1 billion and is somehow now in debt. The Washington Examiner dug through her financial statements and gave us a good clue why. Kamala's campaign was getting whacked like a piñata while D.C. leeches hoovered up all the cash. She spent over $50 million on payroll. Trump's campaign spent less than 10. Another $12 million went to consultants and $20 million went to their little concerts with Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Christina Aguilera, John Bon Jovi, remember him? They even had to cancel a performance by Alanis Morissette because they were running low on cash. Isn't that ironic? Campaign insiders are mad at the bosses for wasting donor money on concerts instead of ads about, the economy. Quote, they said they were spending to zero. I guess they overshot zero. Ads would have gone a lot further than the pricey celebrity endorsements. One campaign source said people were concerned about their own financial issues, not Oprah telling them America won't exist. But it worked out nicely for Oprah. She got her friend Kamala to pay her $1 million to interview her in September. $1 million. Now, if she thought she was saving democracy, she should have done it for free. Kamala scared donors by calling Trump a dictator, got $1 billion, then just gave it to her friends and blew the rest on being a diva. Kamala went on a podcast, remember Call Her Daddy, but she didn't want to go to their studio in L.A. So she made the host fly to D.C. and used campaign cash to build a fake set in a hotel room. She spent more than $100,000 to build it. That set, see it? 2 chairs, a coffee table, and a bookshelf. That's 6 figures. Now, we looked at the set. We probably could have done it for around $6,000. That's without labor. But where'd the rest of the money go? We don't know. So she's still trying to soak folks for cash. 24 hours after the election, on Wednesday, Democrats got a text from the campaign. Urgent. We need help. Donate now. Help with what? You lost. If this is how she's going to spend her donors' dollars, imagine what she would have done with our taxes.
I spoke to the president-elect on the phone 48 hours after his victory and asked him what he believes his mandate is. He told me it's to bring common sense back to the country. As for day one, he told me, I think we have a lot of firsts, and brought up strengthening the border. I pressed him on the price tag of his mass deportation plan, which experts say could be in the billions. He told me, quote, it's not a question of price tag. Really, we have no choice. When people have killed and murdered, they're not staying here. There is no price tag.